Well, welcome to Stroke of Genius podcast executive experience. My name is Aaron Alba. I'm CEO and founder of Stroke TV Media. Now, tuning into a network this year. Today's guest is Aleasha Bahr. I have a big conversation with her and watch some of her podcasts. And she's a sales consultant, sales trainer, author of Black Sheep Sales. Link will be into her book, will be in the description. She is a keynote speaker, a biz marketing sales strategist. She's all about boosting your sales closer using authenticity. I can't wait to talk to her more about authenticity. And she's also a podcast host of Sales Not the Dirty Word. So let's bring Aleasha on right now. Hold on. Let me get her on. There we go. Hey, Aleasha, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing so well, Aaron. Excited to be here.
It's really good to have you. I really, really appreciate it. And as I told you, kind of in the green room, my first part of my podcast is find out your stroke of genius. I am the stroke part. But when did you have the stroke of genius inspiration to do what you're doing? You're a sales skills and sales expert. I mean, your bio. I read a few key points, but I read your entire bio, and it's amazing. So tell me, what brought you here?
Yeah, I sold digital marketing for a long time for different media companies, and I ended up starting my own marketing agency, and it went really well. Then I had to scale it, and that's hard to do because you got to figure out how to hire people and train them and all kinds of stuff, and then you're just working more, but you're not making more money. And so anyway, I noticed that there was an issue with business owners who started a business and loved what they did, but didn't have that classic pushy, aggressive sales personality. And they were like, I have to figure out how to sell because every business owner has to sell their own thing first. So they would go seek out sales training, and it was so unaligned with any other personality that wasn't this aggressive, douchebaggy person, right? So I decided to start providing an alternative. And when I first started working, that was my stroke of genius, I guess, was like, oh my gosh, there's not any kind of sales strategy out there that someone who's not that status quo sales personality could succeed with.
I'm
So
pretty sure you call that douchebag.
yeah, a douchebag personality. Yeah. So most people aren't comfortable acting like that, right? And to be honest, it's not very effective when it comes to sales either, but that's like another story. So when I started working with people, I didn't know how I was going to work with them in the beginning. So I would like ask them about what they were selling, and they would tell me, and I'd say, "Oh, well, sounds like you sell this." And they'd say, "Oh, well, I like how you said that." And I'd say, "Oh, okay, well, let me write it down for you." And then I'd say, "Well, for this audience and this, offer that you have, are you asking these questions?" And they'd say, "No, I'm not." And I'd say, "Oh, I'll write those down for you too." And over 6 years of repetitions creating these frameworks for people, I started to notice patterns in the approach of selling like a natural, the opposite of a douchebag, right? And that was my second stroke of genius, I guess. And then I wrote the book. And it's, got step-by-step pieces to it that you can follow, similar to like status quo sales, like setting the agenda. And then you have the discovery, and then you have the permission to pitch, and then you pitch, and then you say the investment, and then you're really quiet. So it's like the alternative to all of that, but is easy to follow still.
So, Billy, you kind of, I must say, almost morphed into this, what you're doing today, because you've done just teaching, you've been there, done that. Now you've done enough that you've back up, look at it, and go, man, there are some douchebags out there. I'm telling people, authenticity. Now we're jumping to the real meat potatoes of our conversation because I
Yeah.
want to hear what Aleasha has to say about this. Yeah, I told you, Aleasha, I had my own company for almost over a decade. And I sold a lot to wineries in Napa. And they would give me the business because I was authentic. I wasn't giving a big pushy sales hype. I wasn't trying to manipulate them much to be authentic. So tell me what the difference is between being authentic sales, being one that's not.
Yeah. So the status quo sales approach is your only goal is getting a yes. And you want a yes from anyone who has a pulse and a credit card. And as a result, you get less yeses. So if you go into a conversation with authenticity, you're really just trying to understand if somebody even needs this. Like, what is your situation? What are your challenges? Do you have the time necessary? Do you have the resources? Do you have the structure in place? Whatever it is that somebody needs to have in order to get results from what you're doing. And then it's really easy to transition into a sale from that because you're just like, yeah, I mean, what you're looking for is what I do. And you have this, that, and the other, and those are the people I do my best work with. So like, let's roll. It becomes very natural.
Well, I think part of this is his husband must be authentic. He has to really believe in what he's doing. And otherwise, I'm sure you've experienced it. Someone that's gets out to get a yes or manipulate that person, they pick up on it.
Absolutely. There's a difference in the energy, in the vibe. We call it commission breath. You can feel that the person just wants a commission. So it's a repellent. It's the underlying philosophy of black sheep sales is if it's a fit, it's a fact, and there's no selling involved. So that detachment from the sale, it's like the foundation for the whole conversation. People can feel that you're just trying to guide them to the best decision for them, whether that's you or something else.
Right, right. I'm curious, Alicia, what did I haven't read your book and I will order it.
Okay.
But you and I just met recently. But tell me why you named it Black Sheep. What's up with that? Black Sheep of Sales.
Yeah. So the black sheep is the one who goes against what is status quo. And in the world of sales, the status quo is acting like a douchebag. So for all the people who don't want to act like a typical salesperson, they are going to be a black sheep in sales. And black sheep definitely get the most business. The origin of the name, it took me a while to get here. At first, I had the subtle art of secret selling, which everyone was like, I don't really understand what that means. And then I tried to be for introverts, like sales for introverts. But a lot of people don't realize they're an introvert because they think it's about being like outgoing. And that's really more of a confidence thing. And then I had the matchmaker sales method, which kind of sounds like little old ladies, but it's about fitting. And so one day I was talking to my clients. It's this evolution when you get into business, right? You're kind of like always just getting more comfortable with who you are and who you're for and all those things. And I was talking to a client saying like, there was something my family wanted me to do. And I was like, no, I don't want to. And they were like, why are you so difficult? Why can't you be easy? And, I'm the bad guy, right? And I'm like, I'm just so tired of it being a bad thing. If I'm the black sheep because everybody said fall in line and don't ask questions and I said no, then I'm proud of it. And the client I was talking to was like, I mean, that's my experience too. I talked to another client later in the week. They said, I'm the black sheep too. And I talked to another client. It was like, I'm the black sheep too. And I was like, you know what? I think this is my client. So a lot of the time when I'm working with somebody, they do something different in their industry than other people too. So the black sheep has this this experience of people just trying status quo, people trying to pressure them into doing it the status quo way. And they have to have the bravery and courage to be like, no, I'm not going to do it that way. And that's hard to do. So I really want to take back the term and make it a positive. It's not a negative, it's a positive. It's somebody who's innovating.
Yeah, you say I'm a sales. When you say that, you might as well be saying I'm douchebag. I'm a
Yeah.
douchebag. So I manipulate people. I'm with you 100%. So you will get people authentic. And I heard some stats about you that when you go to a sales company or a company that needs your help, that you increase sales close rates by 80% using your authentic method.
Yeah.
That's correct, right?
Yeah, it is correct. I mean, a lot of it is just being, you know, it's about being collaborative in the sales conversation and transparent. Who are you for and who are you not for? It's your audience and your anti-audience. And most people just focus on the audience. They don't focus on who they're not for. But when you talk about who you're not for, the people who are your ideal client want to work with you even more because they can self-identify, I'm not that person that they're talking about.
You know, I'm curious. In case you guys missed this, watching this on replay, that I will put a link to Alicia's book, which I will put a link in the description of the video. But Lisa, how do people get a hold of you if they want to consult with you? Do you have a free consultation to see if we're fit or what?
Yeah, I do. I have a sales level up call. So you can submit like a call or a framework or anything like that, and I will review it. It's like an evaluation and go over opportunities to improve your close rates. And in that process, we usually can tell if the way that I work is aligned because I'm very different than most sales experts. Like I'm not going to have like a Excel spreadsheet where I hold you accountable to reaching out to a certain number of people. And because sales is only a numbers game in that way, that volume play. If you treat people like numbers, because people can feel that difference, right? It's that difference between connection, a quality connection, like I'm interested in what you're doing and I think I can support you, versus I'm mass messaging everybody I can. So I'm not going to be telling people to do massive amounts of outreach. And I'm really not going to have you be aggressive and pushy. So I'm not going to teach you how to trick people.
Right,
Yeah.
right. That makes all the difference. There were so many, and when you and I were talking in the green room, and I'm on this for almost over a decade, but, and I was primarily sales. When I would be talking to the vineyard manager or to some big winery like Kendall Jackson or whatever,
Fancy. Yeah.
you know, they could, they knew I wanted the best for them. I didn't tell them something they didn't want or didn't need.
Yeah. Because here's the thing that's funny. If you sell somebody something that they don't need, they are only a sale one time. If you sell somebody something that they need and you stop them from buying something they don't need, they're a client that keeps coming back. They're a repeat client.
That's
So
exact. That's so funny because that's what they happened. They would come back. And it must have been just some right. I never felt that way because I didn't have, I wasn't trying to push them. One time sale, it was develop a relationship with them.
yeah. So I mean, sometimes it helps to explain like an anecdote of, let's say, somebody who does Facebook ads and a business owner comes to them and they're like, I'm starting a business and I want to run Facebook ads. And that ad specialist that's selling their service has a choice. They can tell that person, if you're just starting your business, it's not a good time to do paid ads because you don't know anything about your audience or your message or your offer. And it's a fast way to waste a lot of money. Or they could say, let's do it, knowing that the client is going to leave in 3 months, be out $10,000 and feel burned. And
So
so
do you think that that person make more money at developing a relationship with the person you do the one-time sale?
exactly. They make more money when they're honest with somebody because that person's going to refer people to them. They're going to be able to say, once you have an audience and an offer, like you have people that are buying something, that's when we put the money behind it. That person's going to come back and they're going to stay with them for a long time.
Yeah, that really is a moneymaker, is the long term, not the short term. And it's amazing, Aleasha, when I was reading your bio and really learning something about you, the word authenticity, and I told you I know Jeff Hazlett,
Yeah.
and he said, "Do you want to learn to be?" He asked me this question: "Do you want to be the most powerful person you could be? Learn to be authentic." And here we are today talking about sales. You want to be the best salesperson you could be. Learn to be authentic.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, the more real that somebody is, as in like, I know that sometimes people aren't going to like me, and I'm okay with that. Like, you have personality, right? You have opinions. There's like that saying, if you're for everyone, you're for no one. And it's kind of the same with people pleasers, right? Like, they just want everyone to like them, so they never really have, I'm not for everyone. Not everybody likes, some people want someone who's very stuffy and has a suit and is gonna, kiss a bunch of ass. Like, I'm not going to do that. But you know what? There's a plenty of people who will. So you deserve to go find that person. And I, deserve to work with the people who want somebody to be honest with them and real.
Well, yeah, but Aleasha, me as a first time host of this, a talking to you, if you really increase these close rates of 80%, you can argue with the truth. You can argue with authenticity working.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, I I really wish that this was the status quo way, because honestly, buyers, since the status quo way of doing sales is manipulation and lying, buyers are terrified to talk to a salesperson. And they can't get the support and information and guidance that they need because they don't want to talk to somebody because they feel like they're just going to be sold something they don't need. So, if instead the standard was helping people and being honest with them, it would just be a better experience for everybody, buyers and sellers.
Yeah, I hear that. So true. But I'm curious, I got a question for you. Who are you looking for? Who's your ideal client? What size of company do you work with?
Yeah, so I work really well with companies that are in between 1 and 10 million, and they have a salesperson that they're managing and they don't know what they're doing, because why would you know what you were doing? So they've either told the person to sell like them or just figure it out because you're in sales, and neither of those work very well. So I come in and I create custom sales playbooks and I train your rep to run with them. And then you have a predictable, repeatable process that other people can come in and use.
Isn't that scaling? Really, if you can build a deal sales team, you can scale that and just keep adding other sales if it's working. But let's talk about what does authenticity and sales mean to you?
I think it's about letting someone know when they're not a fit. And it's about letting someone know when it doesn't work. So I always like to be real clear with people. If you don't talk to me, it's not going to work. And if you don't implement the stuff we're putting together, it's not going to work because I can't possess your body and do it for you. Let's say that it is the Facebook ad specialist again, and they can say, when it doesn't work is when you don't trust the data and you trust your emotions instead. because people doing Facebook ads are always like, no, turn them off. They just get so freaked out. And it's like, we need more data. So being honest with people up front and then asking them, are you okay with that? Is going to help people feel safe.
Does this, so you set up, you can still have a framework and you set up a specialized detailed framework for specific to that company.
Mhm.
And that's very unusual. But then you infuse authenticity in sales, which is, I'll be honest with you, Aleasha, salesmen are not known to be authentic. I put up with the green with the obvious douchebag as a used car salesman.
Yeah, that is the ultimate douchebag. And the training is so, so bad for car salesmen. You want to talk about, we talked a little bit about women in sales and men in sales, and women are almost consistently outperforming men because people feel safer with them. They feel like they're less manipulative. You put a woman in a car dealership, she just absolutely blows everyone out of the water.
Wow, that's really great to hear, but good for your people.
Yeah, but it's because she's rejecting usually the sales training. She's like, this doesn't feel right. Like, because they're telling the way that car dealerships train people, I'm just like, y'all, it's not 1980. How is this still what y'all are? It's the most. I used to have a lot of car dealerships as clients whenever I sold marketing, and it's like whoever's the loudest alpha becomes the general manager. Like, who's the most aggressive? Like,
Right, right. I remember I used to do some other sales on that, but it's so funny because it puts out of a box and told it, they said, if your client says this, you say this.
ugh.
That's terrible. No personality. But so tell me, we only got 13, but tell me, Aleasha, someone wants to check into you and do business. How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah. So on my website, there is an option to book your free sales level up where I'll evaluate your sales process. So that's probably the best way. You could also find it on my LinkedIn profile.
Right, well, so I'll put all your contact information in after we're done in the description video. But you just said something was unusual, guys. You will step in and help them um, really become a firm that can be trusted. And that really is worth everything to be trusted,
It's about making your prospect feel safe.
safe. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you're not going to lie to me. You're going to tell me when I don't need something. And I know that you'll tell me when I do need it later, that
Yeah,
environment. Yeah.
that that's interesting because that was my sales technique. I told them when they didn't need something. And when the client hears that, they go, "What?
Yeah.
I didn't need to spend that money." Well, then I guess according to the status quo, you're not doing a job as a salesperson, but you actually are. And I really appreciate it. So we got a hold of you. Now what happened? After we contact you, what do you do? What's your step two?
Yeah. So if we work together, I understand everything about the company and their offer and their audience. I get in the weeds and understand it inside and out. And from there, I create the playbooks for people to run with. And it happens pretty fast because I like action. So I'll have the salesperson start implementing them immediately, and then we adjust based on how it's going. And there's all kinds of different tools that we build out. Like the verbal conversation is one of them, of course, but also what the prospect sees before the sales conversation, what they see after the sales conversation. You really want there to be this, it's so crazy how the standard in sales is to not send anybody anything beforehand, just a meeting confirmation. And then you meet with them and then you never follow up with them again. It's like, I don't know. It leaves a lot of room for easy wins. Like, I just barely have to touch it, and
Yeah,
it's
for
like
you,
they're
for
looking
you
for
would.
sales. Yeah, like
All right, so they give the website, you do counseling, you walk in the company, you help do the framework. And so then tools somebody can use right now. If you want to get it, go buy Aleasha's book.
yes.
Just keep it in the video. Tell me a little about what is Black Sheep Sales, all about what you kind of summarize your book for what are people expecting when they purchase your book.
Yeah, well, usually when somebody buys the book, they say, "This just makes sense." Like, it feels like common sense. It really is kind of like life. Life is sales because sales, really good sales, is just clear communication. So people end up implementing this stuff in the book in their family life, with their friends, with their kids, and it makes a huge difference because if you think about it, you're really always selling something.
Yeah, really, yeah.
Yeah, you really are. You're selling your partner on that home project. You're selling your friend on going to that event. You're selling your kid on doing the thing that they need to do. So it'll really make sense and align with it in every area of your life. And it gives you the framework for every part of the sales conversation. So what you say before, what you say during, how you can run rapport, how you can ask for the business. In a way that doesn't feel like a douchebag, because all of those things usually, when they're taught, feel really gross.
Yeah, so I mean, I walk to a stranger, say I'm a sales, you immediately think douchebag. I'm being honest with you. I mean, I'm not saying all you people in sales are douchebags.
Right.
I'm saying that if you're not being authentically, like Aleasha is saying, then you probably are douchebag. Honestly, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
You need to learn, you need to contact Aleasha and learn to be authentic. Because you'll find, I found in my own company, that being authentic really, it's a big, I had Kendall Jackson, many big wineries calling me out and say, we want bicycle, they third thing. And these were large pass, so these very expensive things. And yeah, I don't want you to be so closed minded, you get them one sales. It's about relationship. And I think, Alicia, we're down the wire, we're down to close the show. But tell if there's anything fun that you'd like to say. What is the most common mistake you see at their sales? What is it?
Yeah, I think the most common mistake in sales and probably life is someone's telling you to do something and it feels weird. And you might have paid that person and they might be a successful person. And, there's a difference between fear and misalignment. If it's misalignment, like your gut is like, this is not the right strategy for me, listen to it. Because a lot of times for example, in sales training, people are giving the strategy that worked for them and they're a different person than you. And that's the same when somebody gives you advice about what you should do in a marriage, how you should parent a child. Like, this is what worked for them and you're different. And so really stay rooted and grounded in that. And that's what's going to get you the best result, is just resisting the pressure from people who are not you.
Yeah, I think it really comes back to that word authentic. Just be
Yes.
real. Yeah, just be real, just be who you are, believe in our product, believe in what we do. I'm not trying to tell you a bunch of bullshit. Here's a good bullshit about by people. What you don't realize out there is people see right through that. Like you just said, Alicia, it feels weird. It just feels off. And they will, 9 times out of 10, I'm assuming they will say no when they feel that way. When they feel it does feel right, they'll say no automatically.
If you feel weird, the other person feels weird too. I can
Right.
promise.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at least we're out of town. I'm not sure, but I've been an absolute pleasure talking with you. And I wish you absolute best. And I'll put all Alicia's contact information there. Alicia, thank you for being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron.
All right, bye, honey.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number, 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number, save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.